Zombie apocalypse.
Hi guys, this is Chitra. I'm working as a computer science teacher. To help the worldwide IGC students, I just made this presentation for your pre-release material, and I made my way of solution. I think it will be useful to you. And before that, this is my first video on IGC, and depend upon your response, I will upload hereafter the notes about notes or any clarification you need. Those things I am going to upload just for my test. I am going to upload this in my channel. Okay, let's go into the pre-release solution. Before going into the pre-release solution, I want to tell you here I explained it by Python, and those I think most of them are using Python languages for your practice, and better I can explain in Python. If you need in pseudocode also, I can able to do that. That solution is little different. Okay, can we go into that solution? Okay, before we received this previous material, and I think now you all are preparing and troubling to do those things, and I made the solution in most hardly I prepared and made it little smaller and easy to understand as well as neat. And before going into the solution, you must to know how much points you need here. For us, second paper is totally of 50 marks, and in that 20 marks from only from the previous material it is going to come. So it's very important for to score very good marks, right? So can we go into that one? So here in previous material 0478 IGC, those who are going to appear on May-June exam, this is a solution of that one. Okay, so before that, what are the things we are going to understand? What are the things we are going to see in this presentation? We can able to see. Okay, understanding the given pre-release material clearly before starting any programming language, any idea. First, you have to understand the background where it is happening, what really we have to do. So first, I want to explain you what really happened in this pre-release material, where and what our aim of the project, how the task we are going to do that one. So first, understanding the pre-release material, then we are going to write a program for each task, and then each task we are going to test and see whether we can reach the correct valid inputs with valid inputs, whether we reach the target or not. Okay, so first the understand situation. First I list the point what was given in the previous material. So an electronic mountain railway makes 4 return trip every day. So for a vacation, when we are go out there, we can go for trekking, and you can imagine one mountain train is there, and passengers are able to travel in the mountain, visit the mountain and return back. Okay, that is the situation. So electronic mountain railway makes 4 return trips every day. So this material is only for a per day calculation. What are the things actions happened, and the next point is given. Each trip the train goes up to the mountain and come back. Okay, and the train leaves from the foot of the mountain at 9. So I imagine, so the train once if it start at 9 o'clock and reached it and return from the top at 10. So second train or the same train, maybe second train will start at 11 from the foot and reach the up, and from the top it will return 12 o'clock. Likewise, the third train will start at 1 o'clock and it will reach it again. It will return back at 2 o'clock. Okay, so fourth train. So there are 4 trains. I imagine 4 trains. Some people can imagine 8 trains, but I imagine that 4 trains. The same train goes up and it's coming back, and second train goes up and coming back. Okay, and the last train is start at 3 o'clock and return at 4 o'clock. So each train has 6 coaches with 80 seats available in each coach. So suppose I'm taking the first train, thus each train has 6 coaches and every coach has 80 seats. So totally there are 480 seats, right? 6 into 84.80. And passenger can only purchase a return ticket. All ticket must be purchased on the day of travel. So I cannot able to book my ticket 2 days or 3 days before. When I want to travel, that time I have to go and I have to book the ticket. And I have to purchase a return ticket. Means only one way ticket is not allowed. If you want to purchase, you have to purchase two-way ticket. And the cost for up and down is totally $50. So for up to $25, down $25, totally one ticket charge is $50. And groups between 10 and 80 passengers inclusive. So this word is very important. Inclusive means 10 and 80 also included. So if anyone, any group of people with the group size has to be whether 10, within 10 and 80 means they can get discount, and probably they all have to travel in the same coach because the coach has 80 seats. If they are booking the whole coach, the whole in each 6 coach in one coach fully, they can able to book, or in that same coach all are accommodated means they are giving discounted. How the discount is, every 10th passenger travels free. So every 10th passenger means if 10 tickets are booked, you have to pay only 9 tickets. So 10th person can freely travel. And passenger must book the return train journey. Again, the point is return. They must book the return train journey as well as when they are purchasing departure train. And the last point, passenger can return on next train down the mountain or later train. Means that passengers, suppose in 9 o'clock he traveled up to the mountain. It's not necessary that he has to return at 10 o'clock itself. He can return any time at 12 or 2 or 4. But last train is 4. So within any train, he can return. So it's their choice. And while purchasing itself, they have to decide when they are going to return back. And last train, this is the main thing. The last train from the top of the mountain has 2 extra coaches on it. I told, right? The last train start from the foot is 3 and return at 4. And I told some passengers can able to return anytime before that. So they make 2 extra coaches to the return time. So while it go up, its seat is only 480. That is 6 coaches only. But the same train, when it is returned back at 4 o'clock, it will have extra 2 coaches, means 8 coaches in the train which is coming down from the top at 4 o'clock. So totally 18 to 86. Okay, so for your understanding purpose, I just made it as a table column so you can easily understand. So I made it as like a train 1, 2, 3 and 4 as a train number. So you can imagine this is train 1, train 2, train 3. And as I already explained, train 1 start time is 9 and its return time down journey is 10 o'clock. And it has 6 coaches, so totally 6 into 80, 480 seats. And returning also the same thing. So every time we have to imagine. So these things I tabled so that we can understand, then we can decide how we can use the data structures. And you have to notice here the returning, while it is returning, the train 4, it is returning at 4 o'clock, right? That will have extra 2 coaches, that is 8 coaches, and into 80 seats, maybe it will be 640 seats totally. So we can go for this next step. Cost. So this is already, we explained that the cost of journey up is $25, cost of down journey is $25. So total cost per journey we have to give $50. So we have to keep it in that. And group tickets, how they are calculating. So they clearly told between 10 and 80 inclusive means if the number of tickets when you are purchasing is more than equal to 10 and less than equal to 80 means we can apply every 10th passenger will travel free. So for example, if 10 people, number of passengers is 10, he has to give only for 9 into 50, 450 only they have to pay. Like that, if 20 people is traveling means, so in 20 people, 2 people can travel freely. So they have to purchase the ticket only for 18 members. That calculation we have to include while we are making the task. And clearly told all travel together. So all travel together means in same coach, in same train. And the train times are displayed. This is the task. What we have to do is the train times are displayed on the large screen. We are going to write program for this only. Large screen together with a number of tickets still available for each train. Suppose if we go, we have to see the display screen and we have to see which train we can choose and in how many seats available, so that we can book the ticket. So like that, we have to make a program to display the screen, and every time it has to be updated. Suppose 2-3 people book the ticket. After booking, the number of ticket has to be reduced and show this much ticket is available. And when the train is full, the word closed is displayed instead of number of tickets available. Suppose number of tickets, suppose 480. If anyone purchased 480 seats from that train, it has to show in that train closed. So no seats is available means you have to show closed. So before starting any program, whether you are choosing any program, whether we be Java or if you are using C, C++, whatever it may be, when you start write the program, you have to keep in mind that your program must include all appropriate prompts, that is input prompts as well as output prompts. And you must validate your inputs. Whatever inputs you are giving, it must be validated before it is entered. So those validation statement we have to include. And error message, needed error message, we have to show clearly and understandably. And you must use all variables constant identifiers with meaningful name. This is the thing I want to underline, that many students are not using variable names as meaningful names, because for their convenient A, B, C, I, J, K, like that, if you use while marking also, it is too difficult for the people who is marking, the teachers also marking, as well as those who are writing the program also. You will confuse when we are writing very long program. So when you use Cambridge people always encourage us to write meaningful names, meaningful variable names, meaningful constant names. Suppose I want to make a variable name to get number of tickets, just you can give number of tickets, number of passengers. So that is more easy for you also. So let me go into the tasks. And here in my program, I use Python programming language. That's the whole classes, this whole video, you can see the Python programming. With Python programming only I'm explaining. So task 1, what is the task 1 given? It's a start of the day. Well, start of the day, what the main thing, you have to display the screen, right? So write a program to set up the screen display for the start of the day. So while start of the day, I want to book the ticket, I have to see the display screen. So we have to set the display screen, and then we have to initialize the data structures to total passengers for each train journey and total money taken for each train journey. So now itself I am making it ready everything. What are the things I'm going to do? I have to store the time, train number, and the number of seats I have to store. I have to initialize. Actually, I have to initialize, and we have to create separate variables to store total passengers traveled in each train. Each train total passengers traveled we have to calculate, and money taken for each journey. For everything we have to make it ready. Means we have to declare all the variables and all the initializations for the program. And for each train journey must be totaled separately. So if train 1, train 2, like that, if for example train 1 I'm taking, and train 1 we have to calculate how many passengers are traveling or traveled in train 1 up and down separately, as well as total passengers travel in that train. That also we have to keep separate container. And then we have to calculate money for journey up as well as journey down, and total money also. So for these 4 journeys up and down, we have to make a data structure clearly at start of the day itself, so that in next task 2, task 3, we can easily handle. So in this here after the task 1 explanation is in Python. Okay, so first I just created a list. So compared to tuples or in other languages, of course we have to use array, right? So here this array, I felt list is more convenient in Python so that I can use multi data structures. See here I can store string as well as integers. So it is more convenient when compared to tuples or any other thing. So I just chose the list and I declared all the, I initialized while I'm declaring itself, I'm initializing the list. So my train details will be in the train. Okay. So here first one is the train number, and next one, just a minute. And this next, that 480. So number of seats up journey is 480. So total number of seats for train 1. This is only for train 1. Okay. And second is number of seats for down journey, and what time the train 1 is start, 9 o'clock, and returning 10. And next, this 0 I initialize. Now itself I make it as initialize with a 0 to store journey up, how much cost, how much money it is earned, and down, how much money it earned, and last total, how much it earned. Okay. So like this is for train 1. Like that, multi list I can make it. So for 4 trains I made the list. So you can see here train 1 editors, and then train 2, and train 3, and train 4. So for 4 train I made it. Okay. So this is first we have to create. So after that, what are the identifiers? The exact task one we can see now. So in first, I declare these variables. This is for departure train. So I have to store the departure train number. And R train, I'm going to store the return train number. And number of tickets, of course, is integer. So I am using the integer. And these two, I'm just store the index value. So I have to take from the index value, right, from the list. And I think you understood in this also how we can access this in a train 1. So normally it could be 0, right? If it is single list, it will be single list means the index value of start is 0. If train of 0 means it will tell this tr1. If train of 1 means this will give 480. Like this, here it is 2D array. We can tell 2-dimensional array, right? So we can access the train in 2-dimensional array. So suppose if I want to access, so the whole thing, I will make it clearly in this drawing. Okay. So here, can able to see, right? Suppose if I want to access this means, here you can see this is multi. So here this is 0. So if I want to access this tr1, that is first value of that list, means its index value is 0, 0. So this is 0 and first element 0. So next one will be 0, 1. Like that, if I want to access the fourth train first value means it will be, it is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this value will be 3, 0. So this is index value. This we call it as 2-dimensional array. How normally in pseudocode we are using 2-dimensional array, the same method we can access from this list easily. Okay. So sometimes we need to get the index value. To get the index value, I just made this as R index and D index. So this in future you can, and this is just index value and we will use it. So these all are used in our task 1 itself, and in all the tasks we are going to use. And I made this constant. So normally the constants will be different, right? In constant, other we use the word constant, but Python no need to use. As I just initialize with 25, I can able to use. And these we call it as global variables. At the start of the program itself, I declared it. So globally we can access all those things. So it is declared as global variables. We call it as global variable declaration, and I initialized it. These two are string and these are integer values. And first, already I told, right, we have to declare the train list. So these two, all the initialization part now over. So list initialized to store the train details. I stored all the train details. Now we have to display the screen. How we can display? Actually, we are going to display the screen, updated screen also in future in all the tasks. So I don't want to write again and again. So to overcome that problem easily, here I just use this passenger total passengers travel, that also I initialized, and I used function. So I can call anytime the function. So this function in menu, just I make it as menu. So here train schedule I'm going to display. So these things, I think other thing, it's a new line and task lines for that, for beauty of the screen display. And first it will display the train number. Up seats means this up seat we call it as here total number of seats will travel up, and total number of seats will travel down. How many total number of seats is there? And each train, here train number I will display, and each train start time, what is the start time and what is the return time. And cost, of course, now it is $25, we know. If anyone traveled, now starting it will be zero. If after anyone traveled, how much money that train earned up to that time, it will be displayed here, and down cost and its total. So any time if you want to display or we want to do any calculation multiplication with the arrays, with the list, means we must use for loop. So as it is two-dimensional array, we have to use 2 for nested loop. First one is from the list in train. So we know this is a train, right? From the train list, each list one by one. So this is just as a variable list I'm taking. And inside, in this list, first part, one by one, we are going to print. One by one, okay? Each value we are going to print. For that, this for loop we are using. So this is nested for loop. Once it printed the first train details, next it will come down. So for that, this new line is inserted, and it will come down, and it will use the second, it will print the next one. After printing all the 4 trains, we will print that it is giving instruction to the passengers or customers how much their cost will be there. Then only they can able to purchase the ticket. Okay. So before going, so here I clearly showed function to display. It is declaration. We declare the function. Now without calling, the function will not work. So to call, I have to call with the function name and with the argument as train. So I'm sending this train as my argument, and then I'm displaying. After updation, suppose in future the value here 0 is there now, right? In future the 0 may be updated with some values. Then again, if you call the same function, it will print what the data is already stored in the list train. I will show you in the Python program how it look like. So this is a Python program. Just I will show how the task 1 is working. This is a global declaration. You can be able to see, right? This is global declaration, what we declare, and the menu declarations, that is train schedule. This is function declaration, and then here the list, train list, it is there. These things it will come. Okay, don't worry, I will explain in next task. So first task 1, what are the things we have to call the train. So up to that, task 1 is finished. So we have to press F5 to see the output. So it's running. We'll make it to maximize. Okay, our display is clear, right? So what here, train number, here train number, TR1, TR2, TR3, what I stored is display. It's seats, how many seats, total seats now available, right? Now it is 480, start of the day it is. And For train 4, you can see while returning it is 640, but while going only 480 seats, and its time, start time and return time, everything it was written clearly, and how much upcast means now it is 0. So in task 1, after doing getting input everything, we can do that one. Up to that we finished task 1. I think you clear about the task 1, right? I think you understand the task 1 better, and task 1 is too easy, so nothing much to understand. But task 2 is when compared to task 1, task 2 is much more bigger, and main programming everything task we have to handle in task 2 only. Okay, first we can see what really in task 2 they are asking. In task 2, purchasing the tickets. So if I go, already we display the screen and the passenger has to purchase. While they are purchasing, what are the things we have to do in program? So ticket can be purchased for a single passenger or a group. So a person can able to purchase single passenger or a group. So already we discussed about the group ticket is available for discount, right? And when making a purchase, check that the number of tickets for the required train journey up and down the mountain is available. Suppose 480 is the starting to 2030, like that all are purchased, and every time if when we are purchasing, suppose if they entered wrongly also, if the train ticket is not much, suppose some people are coming and asking for 25 seat but available only 20, means your program has to validate and it has to tell there is no more tickets, so you have to choose any other train. And if the tickets are available and all the validations are ready, then a program have to calculate the total price, including if any discount is available, it has to calculate the discount, and it has to, those things will be updated in the screen. So if anything purchased, the seat has to be minus, and then it has to display the updated seats and updated seats and how many passengers are traveling. Those details has to be updated in the display screen. So already they told it has to be updated. So because of that we are using the function. So we can go into the task 2. I will first explain, then I will show you how while running how it will look like. So first I just declared one more function. I will say the same screen. I will show you the same screen. So already I declared these index as globally so that I can access inside, outside, anywhere. And I declared one function as indexes with one argument. That one argument you can see it's ID. I am applying some ID, means I will give any of these four, TR1, TR2, TR3, anything. Its index value I'm storing in INX in this variable. So just I wrote one simple if statement, else if statement, and it returns the index value. INX it is index value, because I told it is a two-dimensional array. Like dimensional array we don't know for, because normally using for loop 1 2 3 I'm not using, I'm using exact train number. So the each train number, its equivalent index value I need to access any value from the list. So for that this in a function I used, while saying you can understand. Okay, and next this one I declared here this function declaration to get index value by train number. So if I give the train number, it will give the index value. We can see where we can able to use this function. And extra day total also I declared, I initialized with a 0, declared and initialized with a 0. And next, first we have to use number of tickets. This while we are starting, this is the starting of the purchasing, starting of the task 2. But in the full program, after displaying the screen, after calling the menu, this while loop will start. This while loop will end at the end of the task 2 when we want to continue. So I will tell the end of the task 2 how it will be continue. Okay, so first I told it NOF ticket, number of tickets. So I just use NOF so easily I can remember. Number of ticket I am getting, and I will I told right, the prompting message must be clear. The in the penny receipt is written, prompting message be clear, and how many tickets do you need, or how many tickets you need. So we have to enter the tickets, and it is stored in the number of ticket. And you can see here integer. I'm converted to integer because our input statement in Python when you are using means if you take, it will take a string. Of course, we have to convert the string into integer. So for that we are using this integer. So number of ticket is stored, so we got the number of ticket now. And next one loop, why we are using here loop means exactly we have to validate the inputs. What validation we have to do? We have to validate whatever input we are getting. First is we have to get the departure time. So departure means at the start, at the foot of the mountain, there itself we are booking the ticket, and you have to tell which train number, in which train you are going to travel to up to the journey mountain up. So we are getting here. I'm not using int. You can see here I use it. Here I'm not using it because tr1, tr2, that is I stored in the list as a string. So as it is, if I'm pressing tr1 or tr2, it will store in the tr in D train, that is departure train. And here already we told right that index value, I already told right indexes. So here we can see the indexes is there, right? So I used here indexes, and I'm giving one argument that retain. Suppose I'm pressing tr1 or tr2, that will be sent there, and it will give the value. Okay, it will give the value, and its index value will be stored in this D index, so that in future, in next statement, I will get the index. So after getting, okay, now here you can see I use one special function. Mostly I didn't use any built-in function, it will be confusing to you, but here no other way. I have to validate three things. One thing is, first I have to check whether I entered correctly. Suppose tr1 is train number, tr2 is the train number. Suppose if anyone press tr only, it is invalid. If anyone press like that, it has to again as the train number. Until you have to enter the right train number, this loop will repeat. So to find out that condition, as it is in a list, so this any time, this any function will be used. This any function is used for that only. So D train means in D train what we enter, that is tr1. Suppose I entered tr only. Instead of tr1 or tr2, I entered only tr. It will go in sublist because in train it is a mixed list, right? Mixed and multi-list. So double array. You can imagine it's a double array. In that, in the sublist for sublist in train. So it will check whether this tr or tr1 is present in the list train. If it is present, it will return true. If it return false, I'm checking whether it is returning false. If it return false, this loop will continue. So first condition I am checking whether you enter the train number correctly. Should not be tr1, it should be tr1. Capital also. If you use tr in small letter also, it will be wrong. So we have to check, we are validating. Actually, we are validating whether we are entering the correct train number. And if it is false, this will repeat. Then next R. If this is okay, suppose you entered correctly. Next condition, this is first condition. So first condition we checked. And next condition, train of D index. So already I told we got the index value, right? So suppose if I enter tr1, its index value is 0. So if it is tr1, now D index is 0. So automatically here train of 0 and 1. 1 means, here I already told right, 0, 1. 0, 1 means the first we told right, tr1, then 480. So I'm checking in second condition whether it is written closed. If closed means all the tickets are booked, right? If all the tickets are booked, we cannot able to book any more tickets. So this function, this if statement checking you whether here actually if statement as well as while loop, right? It will make it like that continue. So it is checking whether there enough available value present is there or available seat is there or not. So first, if closed means automatically we are storing string value right here instead of uh, integer value we are storing closed. So if this is a closed value, then automatically it will again as the input. And third, again we are testing the same thing, whether number of tickets. Suppose available tickets up ticket is only 40, but in number of tickets you are entering as 80, so it will not there is no enough seat is available. So again this loop is repeating. For these things we can make it separate if statement, and we can use separate error message. It's up to you. If you want to write, you can write it. I just want to make it very short form, because already there is a full pre-release material program is too lengthy. To make it short form, I didn't add those detailed error message actually. That is one drawback only, but if we need we can add the same if statement. I added all the condition in same if, right? You can make it as separate if statement with separate error message also we can add here. So if you need, we can add one error message here, one print statement here, so that it will continue. We can give error message, entered values wrong place, like that we can give, then we can do that one. That also possible. I don't want, so I didn't add it. And if this condition is everything, it is any one is fulfilled again, this loop will again will repeat. Okay, suppose we entered correctly, all the things is correctly means else automatically else statement it will come in that means that 480, right? So if suppose I already there is 480, that suppose 480 seat is available, number of tickets suppose I make it as 80, I have to minus it from the number of tickets. So I'm converting it into integer and minusing. So 480 minus 80, so 400 will be stored. Okay, after finishing we have to make a break, it will come out. So we validate the departure train with number of ticket also. We are checking number of tickets for the departure train also. Okay, I think it's clear. So the same way the return ticket also. So I clearly explained here, getting the departure train number as input, and it is validated with 3 options. Okay, and also the loop checks if the entered ticket is available. So we are checking whether we entered the right departure train number, and whether any closed is there, if the ticket is available or not. 2 things we checked in 2 different way. And next one, we have to check the return train also. The same thing, instead of D train I am using R train. So same thing, I'm getting the train index number, and same any built-in function I'm used, and whether I'm checking whether you entered the right train number. And next, well, I'm checking this whether it is closed and the ticket is available or not. The same thing. Extra one condition added in return ticket is whether R index is less than D index. If it is true, it has to repeat. What is the R index? Take for example, I took the departure train as TR2. So TR2 means train 2. Its start time is 11. It started at 11 o'clock up and come down at 2 o'clock. Okay, but I use this TR. I use for departure train as TR1, for example. Okay, and return train must be after 11 o'clock, right? Return train must be after 11 o'clock. Whether they can choose TR2 or TR3 or TR4, but if I enter wrongly without seeing the time, TR1. So TR1 train time is it start at 9 o'clock and reaching at 10. So how a person can travel up at 11 o'clock and return at 10 o'clock? It's not possible, right? So that validation also we have to check. For that I'm checking. So how easily we can make it as I'm checking whether R index is less than D index. So R index, you already know TR1 is 0, TR2 is 1, like that it go on. So here TR2 index will be 0, 1, 2. It will be 1, right? Index value is 1 and TR1 index is 0. Suppose if I enter this like the R index is 0 and well, I'm checking whether 0 is less than 1. Yes, it is this. It will give true. Then again it will ask you this. It will be continue, right? It will ask you to again return the train number. Again you have to enter the train number, return train number. So it won't. This loop will not end until you have to give the right train number without any error. After these things over, it will again minus the number of tickets, suppose 80 or 2 tickets from the total seat available, and it is updated in the list. Okay, and then annotations are there. Okay, I can remove the annotations. Okay, here getting the return track, what I explained, that only it is there. And next one, we have to calculate the tickets. What we are calculating, if discount is available or not, including 10 and 80. If you are purchasing greater than equal to 10 and less than equal to 80 means I can give a discount. Discount means the 10th free ticket. I have to give how many free tickets. So I am calculating how many free tickets. FT means free ticket. So a number of tickets, for example, 20 persons are traveling means 2 ticket is free. So I have to make it generalized. If I am traveling 80 also, 8 people has to travel free. So 2 by 10 means what will happen? 2. So free ticket, 2 ticket is free ticket. That free ticket I am minusing from number of tickets before calculating. Here one way cost is $25. So cost for one way for them is, it will calculated here. Okay, suppose there is no any discount. Normally we have to calculate with one way cost, and here the total I'm multiplying with total. The total I have to calculate, right? This is one way cost and I'm calculating for two way, and I use this round because I want to make it as exact clearly in 2 dimension. Okay, 2 decimal point only, or else too much decimal point it will come. So for that, to avoid that, I just use the round of cost, that one. So we now what are the things we done? We got number of tickets and which train in which train, departure train number, and it is validated correctly, and I checked in whether seats is available or not, whether entered correctly, and the same way whether return train also correctly entered or not, that also clearly validated. And after these two things over means we selected correct train and number of tickets also available means we are calculating whether in discount is there or not. With the discount or without discount, the total amount what we have to what we purchase, it's calculated. Next thing, we have to update it. Okay, we are updating everything into the list. So this list, now you understood why I use that function, right? Index, to get the index, D index, departure index, and the index. So the fifth value is we are going to use the cost, last one, right? 0, 0, 0. So the train, how much cost it is there, that cost I'm updating. For our index means return index, whether train 1, train 2. So with that index, I'm just updating the cost, and last I'm updating the 7. You can see total cost. Last one is total cost of the train. Also, I'm updating into the list. And after, so you can see number of tickets purchased are updated into the list, and calculator cost of the tickets also updated. And then I have to check this if statement I used. If the cost is a number of available ticket is less than equal to 0, if we are making it as, we have to display closed. If it is equal to 0, if it reaches 0 means we have to display closed in that place. That was predominantly it was given in the previous material, we have to display closed. So I have to check in both the train whether full ticket is sold out means we have to display the close. To do that, I used one simple if statements. Okay, for both departure and both I have to, and updated that one. And then now everything is updated. Now we have to print the ticket. So this is the main thing in purchasing. After I purchase, the ticket has to show this much ticket is purchased, you have to pay this much. So just this is just displaying from the list. Already we updated the list. From the list I'm going to display my ticket details. So I just make it as ticket details and your departure train. So which D train and D train, here actually D train has to come. Okay. Okay, and time and D index and return time and number of tickets, everything is there. Number of tickets, everything is there, and you need to pay after discount this much dollar. So it will return the total value what we declare, right? Those things it will come. And displaying the journey train details and amount the customer need to pay. Up to this, our purchasing ticket is over. Then we have to display the updated display screen. We are again displaying. Already in list we updated that updated list we are sending to the function. That function is used to display the screen. It will display the screen, and these things are used whether this is for one day, right? One day many times the entries will be there. If the front person want to update means he will ask you whether you need to enter the value, whether you need to continue means yes means it will continue, or no means it will come out of the loop. So this I already told, right? In first, that while red color you can see, right? Red color while loop started. So that's while loop will end if you make it break here. If that while loop will continue if you press yes, whether it is capital or. Up to this task 2 is over. I will show you the output how it look like. Okay. So here you can see this while it started and number of tickets we purchased. Here you can see everything, right? You can see this or train, D train. This is validation. This whole loop, while loop is validation for departure train, and this is validation for return train. And here you can see this if statement is to calculate the free ticket, and after that it will calculate the cost for in one way, and here the total cost is calculated. The calculated things are updated in the these 4 things is updating into the list. After updating it will check if after updating if the total seat available is 0. If reached 0 we have to update with closed. That word has to be entered in that, right? It will be updated in the list itself. And this is the ticket display, how the ticket is displaying, okay, and how it look like. So these decorations I made to make it clear to understand. And up to this task 2 is over. So can we run the program? Already program is in the shell is there. I can show now. You can see, right here our task 1 we finished and task 2 is waiting. So we can enter the ticket. So suppose I just am entering 20, okay, 20 tickets. So you can see select your departure train. So can we check? We can check whether these 3 conditions I told you, 3 validation is working for the departure time. First one is we must enter TR1, TR2 exits. Suppose I'm entering wrongly, suppose T only I'm entering, it won't go out. Again, it is exiting the departure train. If you need, we can add error message also. I don't want, so I didn't add. If you need, you can add one error message in that one. Okay. So again, it is exiting, so I have to enter right TR. So I just enter exact TR2. I will enter. Okay. So I want to travel at 11 o'clock. And next, after getting the right one, so now it is not it will check, right? 480 seat is 20 only, so that also it is checked. And no closed is displayed here. No closed is displayed here. So closed is not displayed means no problem, right? If closed display only, it has to ask. So now start is not a problem. Okay. In TR train, the same thing. If I enter TR like that, it won't accept. So we have to give the right one. So here I told I extra one thing we validated, right? That is, if we travel in TR, suppose in TR1 in departure 11 o'clock, I'm traveling up. So I have to return in any of the train, whether T3 or T4, but I cannot able to travel down with the TR1 because the time is different. So you can see if I'm 11 o'clock, I'm going, I can return at 12 or for 2 or 4, but I cannot return at 10. So suppose if you enter wrongly STR1, it won't allow. See, again, it is asking you to enter the right return train number. So no other way, I have to choose any other thing. So this time I will return, and in a second 2 o'clock, so TR3 I will enter. So I enter. So your ticket is ready. Your departure train is TR2 and your time is 11 o'clock you are going, and you are returning 2 o'clock in the train 3. And number of tickets you purchased is 20, and after discount you got the value only $900. Why is $900? 20 means 2 tickets are free, so you have to pay money only for 18 tickets. After that, your train schedule is updated. You can see I traveled in train 2, so that up cost is $450. That is one way, right? One way means $25. 20 into 20, here it is not 20, 18 into 25, so 450. 18 into 2450, total cost also updated screen. Okay, and I can press S. So I will show you the closed, how it is coming. I will press S to continue. How many tickets you need? So I want to show you this closed, whether it is, how it is nicely coming. So first I want to purchase 460. Remember 460 together means discount won't be there, because up to 10 to 80 it will be there, right? So 460 I'm entering to show you 460. So train number TR2. Okay, train number TR2, and I will travel back at TR4. In TR4 I will travel back. So you can see this much amount you have to do. Now you can see closed, right? Closed is displayed. So because 480 is already done, so already, so closed. So we cannot, anyone, no one can travel in train 2. Now it is closed. So again, I want to, we can check whether we can able to travel that one, that validation working or not now. So just I press yes. I need only 10 tickets now. So here, purposefully I will give TR2 to check whether my validation is working or not. So sorry. Okay, TR2. Okay, I'm entering TR2, the departure. So it should not allow me. See, it's not allowing because I cannot able to travel, right? Because it is written closed. So now I have to choose TR1. Suppose TR1 I can choose, and I can return at TR. Okay, TR4 I can return. So it is updated, and you can see how many down seats is available. Only 170. Up seat is here 460. These are down seats, and up seat here 20. We traveled right already. 10 I gave up. Yeah, 10. So 470 like that, and you can see up journey and down journey cost also updated, and its total cost. This total cost means the total money earned by the train 1. This is total money earned by the train 2. So this is actually, it is continuing up to this. If I press no, it will come out of the loop. Okay, up to this task 2 is over. It's very easy, right? Little lengthy, but it is easy. If you understand the logic, it will be very easy. Now we can go to the task 3. So task 3 is end of the day report. So end of the day report generation means full day after 4 o'clock, after 5 o'clock. Once all the journey is over, they want to calculate, the company want to calculate some of the things. So that report they have to generate. So for that, what are the things they are generating? So they are doing, they want to generate the day end report. Day end report means 3 things they told. One is they have to find out maximum train journey, maximum which train earned money. And the next thing, you have to display which train has earned more, that train and which direction we are going to display. each train details, each train how much it earned, how much passengers traveled, and at the end of the day total passenger who traveled, total passengers, that amount, that figure we have to find out. So for that, the maximum variable I am using, I initialized to 0. This is to find out passenger, total passenger travel, and in per day, full day. This is each time we are updating, and this day total it is used to update to show you how many, how much passengers travel on that day. That also we are going to calculate. And for that, first we are using here. What logic I used is the same list I'm going to update. The same list we are using, the train list, right? The same list I'm going to update with the remaining values already. So for that I just use this for loop. I think some other language this type of logic will not be there, so only I am using the list, I'm using this there. So here actually what I done, updating list with the total number of passengers traveled in each train in both the journeys up as well as down. The same list I am updated for the day end report. So I just day end report also I updated with the same thing. Once we press end means all the journey is finished. So after 5 o'clock, after 4 o'clock, these things is done. So automatically the same list is updated and you give the report. So here the for loop I used for only 4 trains, right? 1 to the train 0 to 4 range means 0 to 3 to take. So the 4 trains, and the train starting 0 1, that is first train. First train, this index number 1 means it is telling you the number of seats up journey. For up journey, if it is closed means all the seats are sold. So we can tell 480 seats are sold. And I'm checking if closed is not there means I have to find out how many people are traveled. So from the 480, I am minusing the value present in the up journey, right? In up journey, how many people are traveled, right? That is that I'm minusing and updating so that I can find out how many passengers traveled that day. Like that for each train. For each train, I am checking. This is for a departure train, right? And like that, I am checking for each train. And for each train, it is checked here. This is, it will check for 4 trains. And this if statement we used to do only for that third last train, because the other train has 480 seats only. So all 3 trains it will done for, from this if statement. But if the 4th train also displaying closed, that I have to update like that 480. If it is I equal to 3, so if closed is there 480, if not 640, if not 480, if it is I3 only, this condition. Other than that, other thing is the same. This is for departure upcast. 1 is upcast and 2 is downcast. So here another train is downcast. In downcast only 3 is 640. I checked that also, including that one. And here I am minusing. If else statement must, this statement is if this if statement, if I is 3 means I am minusing by 640, else means I am minusing from 480. This just I'm updating my same list. Okay, the same list I'm using for updation. And last I have to prepare the day end report. So again I'm using the same function. This is the main advantage of this program, because I'm using the same trained list I updated and I call the same function so that it will display the day end report in that. And if I want to print each train details, I can able to print this also. So if I use it for loop, each train details I am going to print. So the train number, I'm pressing the train number, because it will first train number will display, and how many passengers traveled in the train totally, and how many passengers down that up, how many people down, how many people travel, and total money earned by that train. And these things, up to this the for loop will be there, and these thing it is outside of the for loop. So these two is inside the for loop. Okay, and after that we have to do the total passengers traveled today passengers here, and the total collection and maximum. Okay, this maximum I have to show you, right? Maximum. So I will explain it in that program itself. Okay, maximum traveled also we have to add. So I will show you in that program itself. So up to this we explain, right? So here task 3 start from here separately. So this for loop up to this, you can see it is calculating, it is updating the same list to find out how many passengers really traveled. For that, this calculation is here. And this for loop, actually it is missing the, sorry, in that presentation. Here this for loop. This for loop, you can able to see the 4 train. I am checking here maximum. So this maximum will be, already I declared, I initialize the maximum with 0. If you want any negative numbers also, you can initialize with 0. And so that we know, right, the same logic. I'm checking whether the maximum train is there or not. So if it is greater than maximum equal to the train value we are storing, like that, this if for the 4 train, it will check up as well as down, and I'm storing which direction also. So direction 1 variable I declare, and I'm storing the direction also, which train travels maximum. Maximum is how many passengers, the train which travels with the maximum passenger. So this passenger list is there, so that I'm using for both departure train and return train together, up and down journey. And after that, I am updating this passenger total, the passenger total train number, right? So passenger total we are adding with the train number 1 and 2 means this is 1 means total seat it is there already. Now this total, it is not total seat, how many passengers traveled actually. We updated, right, the same list. So both the things added together and finding out the passenger total. This is actually running total. So this also inside the for loop, right? The same for loop I use to find out day total. That day, how many passengers totally traveled. So that I've used here. Okay. So it is updated, and then every time once it is added, it is updated also. So here the running total also happening. Okay. After that, we are printing the day end report. So we already showed these 2 is inside the for loops, this 3 is outside the for loop. I enter. So I will show the output. So already we gave some inputs. So this task 2 is over. Now task 3 means just I have to press no, so that I can see the day end report. So I'm pressing the no, and the day end report is there. So I have to show you here the same menu I used, list is updated. We can see here, yes, here. So you can see here this train schedule before it is in train 2, it is closed, right? Closed means all the 480 seats are sold out. And you can see 470 seat is available actually. Now in task 3, the same display I changed into, make it as a day end report, how many passengers travel, right? So 470 is remaining is 10 passenger only travel. So you can see it is updated is 10 people where it is closed 480. So all the 480 is sold out. So how many passengers travel? 480 passengers are traveled. Here no passengers traveled down by TR1 or TR2. Okay, train 1 and train 2. And here 20 passengers travel, 470 passengers traveled. Okay, and then this is day end report. You can see for train, each train details it is given. So total passengers traveled up is 10, down no one travel, and the total money earned is here. The total money is earned, right? That also here. So for each train it is clearly displayed. After that, the total passengers traveled today. Totally how many passengers travel is 980. You can see it's 480 plus 10 plus 20 plus 470. If you add all together, you will get the answer 980. And the total collection of the day, total collection of the day, if you add all together, we will get this value. And most passenger traveled train is TR1 in direction up there. So TR1, TR2, right? TR2, you can see most 480. This is the maximum people traveled in this train. And which direction? Up direction. So that it's clearly find out and listed. So our solution is quite good. Our program is ready, and I think you all understand how it is working, right? So displaying the end report, I think if all you clear about how it is working, I think you understood it very well. And if you have any suggestion, any doubt, you can reply it in my comments. I'm really happy to answer your questions. And if you need more help in the same solution, you can comment me, and you can share it if you like it, so that other students can also be able to listen to that, or and they can use of for that example. In this pandemic situation, I think this much I can able to help my students, those who are in all over the world, without any all the teachers help. You can learn it yourself. And if anyone needs, if anyone not able to understand through the Python, if anyone need in pseudocode only, if you want to explain in pseudocode, I'm here to explain. I surely will explain you in my next video. See you in the next video. Bye.